In the morning, a crew of river rescuers arrived at their station. One donned a diver's suit and went to routinely inspect the bottom. After a short time, he surfaced again. He was not himself, immediately asked for a cigarette. His hands were shaking. We tried to question him. He began to say something inarticulate about dead people. The second rescuer, not thinking long, put on a suit and dived into the water. The story was repeated. After just a couple of minutes, he also came out in a strong excitement and began to talk about the terrible sight. The third rescuer dived in. An experienced one, he told the story and restored the probable course of events. 3 guys came to the river, probably friends. They started diving from the pier. One of them decided that he would dive under the metal rope, by which the wharf was attached to the shore. Under the water in one place there was a gap between the rope and the bottom. He dived in. His friends were waiting. He didn't come up. The second guy decided to help his friend. He dived in and he's gone. The third dived to save his friends. When the rescuers plunged into the water, they saw the following. The first man with his whole body stuck under the rope. The second, his rescuer. He was holding the ankle with a dead grip, and the second tightly grasped the third by the chest. The third was literally a few centimeters short of the water's surface. So all 3 of them drowned. It was this garland of people that rescuers found underwater that morning. It all started after my husband drowned while going on vacation with friends. It was a huge grief for me and our daughter. After burying my husband, we did not notice any strange things at home for the first time. But after a month, strange things started to happen in the house. Toward night, in the bathroom turned on the water itself. First ran a small trickle, and then sharply as a rush with all the force. At first thought malfunctions with plumbing. But the master said that everything is normal and explain what is happening he cannot. Advised at night to shut off the water so as not to flood the neighbors. I did so, but all in vain. The water continued to pour like crazy, but that's not all. My daughter Mary, 4 years old, says that when she bathes in the bathtub, she hears her daddy. I told her that daddy is far away working, but he loves us very much. I didn't want to traumatize a child at such a young age. He says something to her, but she doesn't understand what. It's like he's whispering. At first she didn't pay much attention to it, even singing something ridiculous to him. But one day she ran out screaming, "Leave me alone, Daddy, leave me alone. I don't like your songs." The girl was frightened, and she closed in on herself. She talks to me, but she's one syllable. I took her to a child psychologist. The doctor said it happens, and maybe she just harbors a grudge against someone close to her. In the end, the problem with Mary was never resolved. A month ago, Mary came back from kindergarten very cheerful. Asking what the reason for her joy was, she told me that in the restroom, in the garden, when she was washing her hands, she heard her daddy's voice. Now he was not humming, but speaking clearly. He told her he was coming to see her son. In a panic, I took Mary to my parents and moved there myself for a while. Everything was calm. I was already thinking that I had just gotten myself worked up and everything would be fine. So I started to head home. Mary didn't want to leave and locked herself in the bathroom. Mary wouldn't open the door for me. I decided to outsmart her and pretended to leave, slammed the front door, turned the locks, thinking that way she would think she was home alone and come out of the bathroom, and I would intercept her in the meantime. I stood there silently for about 15 minutes when suddenly I heard the sound of water. It was no longer pouring in a small stream. It was just coming out of the faucet from the sound of it. Mary screamed. I snapped out of my seat and ran to the bathroom door. It's locked. "Daughter, open up. Mommy's gonna save you. Mommy's right there," I screamed. Mary didn't open the door, only cried through her tears that she couldn't open it because Daddy wouldn't let her. Then I heard something metal hit the tiles. It was a faucet. It had just been ripped off by the water pressure. Mary screamed, and boiling water came pouring out. I was breaking and breaking. I don't know what miracle worked, but I broke the damn door down and pulled Mary out. Then I ran to shut off the water, but I didn't have time. Water was pouring out of every faucet in the house, in the bathroom, in the kitchen. Even the toilet bowl was gushing water. I was in a panic, at a loss. I took my daughter to the landing and told her to run to the neighbor on the first floor, to call the rescue team. Mary ran downstairs. I locked the door, and I waited for something to happen. I just didn't know what to do. When are you gonna get off our backs? What do you want? We're not responsible for your death, Serge. Leave us, I beg you, I screamed in anguish. Water started pouring through the crack in the front door. The neighbors came running and shouted at me to turn off the water at any cost, because they were already drowning. I couldn't go into the apartment. There was water, boiling water, and there he was, my dead husband. I could feel his presence, but how could I explain to the neighbors? I closed my eyes and sat down at the neighbor's door. Then I heard Mary's voice. Mommy, Mommy, get up, Daddy, go away. Leave me alone. You're scaring us. Stop it, please, go away. I don't want to sing with you. Leave us alone, please. That's when it stopped. The water stopped pouring. The rescue team came to help with the flood my husband had caused. I sat at the neighbor's door and watched what was going on. People were running around with buckets and rags. They were pulling me down. Someone even kicked me, but I had no reaction to them. Only after a couple of hours I was able to get up. What happened next I will not tell you in detail, because I gave the last money for repairs to the neighbors, sold the old apartment, and left with my daughter to live in another city. We do not go near the water and everything is calm now.